Even in the winter, we could always get it hot. Certified sunshine, we got it on lock. Loving you forever, ever, until I forgot. I said I need less talk, a little more space. I need to know my feelings, but my words get in the way. I never really think straight, and you walked away. I ain't good at noticing, I know I gotta change. I heard you're back in town, you're coming around. I know I did before, but I'll never let you down. I see you looking my way, I felt the wind change. We can try again and make it summer every day. I know you've been down, I'm still the one in your heart. But we could get together and we'll never be apart. I wanna get down and restart. Everything we do is a work of art. Would you want some action? Hey, I'm on my way. Yeah. Come on. Hey, would you want some action? Hey, I'm on my way. Come on. I made a friend on the block. He's everything I'm not. Slick like a flame and fresh as easy rock. I said, how do you do it?
Take everything in stride.
When the world don't vibe, you gotta go with what's inside.
I said, break your chains, stop running in place. Throw your inhibitions out with all your some days. So get your girl, make her your world. Come back, but get out of your head, fool.
Been living in the sun, every day a new one. Feeling brand new, like my life had just begun. I see you looking my way, I feel the wind change. We can try again and make it summer every day. I know you've been down, I'm the one in your heart. Or we could get together and we'll never be apart. I wanna get down, everything we do is a work of art. Would you want some action? Hey, I'm on my way. We could get together and we'll never be apart. Come on. My babe, would you want some action? Hey, I'm on my way. Come on, just rock, don't stop. My babe, would you want some action? Hey, I'm on my way. We could get together and we'll never be apart. Come on. My babe, would you want some action? Hey, I'm on. I wanna get down, and restart.
All right. Hey, Andrew. It doesn't even feel weird to me. This feels better.
Asking about me to everybody else. No, it's nobody else.
Yeah.
You're so crazy.
Oh, you're still muted.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to unmute me until I said something, but I took matters into my own hands.
Yeah, we're all adults here. We can all figure it out.
Hey, everybody. We're here.
Hey,
And
Jedi.
if you're wondering what feels different, you're right. Lauren's not here.
What we're doing right now is we're recreating the Eyes Without a Face gallery show
Yeah, by
here
Jason
live.
Edmiston.
So if you didn't go to the Jason Edmiston gallery show, this is your chance right now to
Wait.
experience exactly what it felt like. It was just a bunch of artwork like this. I think the best one he did have Stay Puft Marshmallow, right? Gosh. You should do like
Staying Puffed Marshmallow Man.
Stain Puffed.
Staying
Oh,
Puffed.
I did love that
And
gallery
I got to
show,
match
though.
your head size. Are our head sizes good?
Yeah,
Our
it's
head
close enough.
sizes are fine.
Honestly, okay, what was your favorite Mondo show you ever went to?
That's tough because subject matter versus experience, I think those are different things. My favorite subject matter was probably, hang on, I'm trying to log into Twitch, and since it's been a couple weeks, it's making me like re-verify. Probably subject matter was probably either the Pixar one or the Nickelodeon one, which had like the Ninja Turtle stuff.
Oh yeah.
But experience, like hands down, was when was the Richard Linklater show, and meeting
Which I didn't
Richard
get
Linklater,
to go to. Yeah.
meeting Johnny
Bananas.
Bananas.
Just kidding. Johnny who? Cupcakes.
Johnny, no, what's his name? From Big Bang Theory, the guy that wore my shirt.
Ah, yeah.
Galecki.
Gotcha.
Johnny Galecki. Meeting him and then meeting the kid from Boyhood was cool.
Which was the show? Which was the show that had? Was there a show that only featured cars that we went to at Mondo, or am I just thinking of a show that had a print specifically with cars?
I think you're thinking of the Inforama show. They had several cars, like the DeLorean was part of it, and
Yeah, Inforama was I loved that show,
that was
but
a
I
good
also
show,
just
too.
love Kevin and Matt anyway. So
right, and Tom, because Tom
yeah,
Whalen was there for
exactly.
that one too.
That's right.
the one
Tom
with
was
the
too,
that
so.
was the one from the infamous photo of you talking to Tom and his wife, and you just looked like you crawled out of a
Just
pool.
absolutely dumping buckets of sweat on the back porch. I was just praying that I would dehydrate so it would stop. I was regretting every glass of water I'd had that day.
Yeah. So, what was your favorite show?
Man, that's I thought that there would be a clear standout. Honestly, Eyes Without a Face was really good. Maybe because I feel like I learned a lot during that show in terms of Jason talked a lot to us then, but also afterwards about how he takes his print and then prices it and what one print means for him, like long term, like how much money he stands to make.
The
off
Eyes
of, like,
Without a Face, like Jason Edmiston show.
Yeah, but it opened up a conversation just about how he approaches monetizing his art that I feel like I learned a lot from that. Plus it's just fun subject matter. Plus
he's just such a nice guy too. Like
he's such a nice guy. He's such a nice guy. And if I remember right, that might have been my first Mondo Gallery show, so it also stands out.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, the Pixar, whichever one you just mentioned, and then Inforama. But honestly, they were just all had such a vibe to them. They were so fun to do.
So what's crazy is I'm burping.
Nice.
Quietly, so that it doesn't.
Nah. That doesn't translate at all, for sure.
What's crazy is the Nickelodeon show with the one that I was talking about with like the turtles and stuff. We didn't even go to that show opening. If you remember, we had a prior engagement, and we sent EJ and Jason Lindley to cover that show as correspondents. So they took our press creds and covered the show, and they brought all like the content back, and then we edited it. Which was crazy. Like that when I think about how much we used to do.
It's funny because I knew that show.
How much credibility
happened.
we used to have.
It's funny because I knew that show happened and I couldn't remember anything from it. And you're right, it's because we didn't go to it. I was like racking my brain. I can remember pieces from the show, but I couldn't remember like being in the gallery during the show, and that's why.
Right. And now I did end up going to the gallery and seeing the show while it was still up. So I do have memories of seeing it in person. But yeah, it wasn't because I did the opening night.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Jedi, Mackenzie, hello. And everybody else that's joining in. We have a lot to get through. Although Lauren's not here tonight, unfortunately, which means that we are going to update you on her trip to Japan.
Yeah.
We do not know that anything that we're going to say is factually accurate.
We're going to give you the update that we assume happened with Lauren.
Yeah, we do have a play-by-play that...
And it is up to her...
It's probably correct.
It is up to her to both listen to this and do any sort of correction.
And if she doesn't correct it, it's fact.
Right, and we're not going to talk about... We're not going to let her give a play-by-play unless it's in direct response to what this is.
Right.
So this is the only opportunity to hear about Lauren's Japan trip.
But we have...
She's fresh back from... I think she's been back for 14 hours.
But I know that I have 2 shows, 2 events in politics to get into. So I'm ready to go.
I am too.
All right.
Let me just do this.
I'm feeling like it was a 1930s family sedan, one in blue and one in burgundy. That's what I'm picturing in my head for these Mondo prints.
It was a movie. It was
Well, it wasn't around Hudsucker Proxy. What was it around?
It was a movie, a very old movie about this one particular car that was made. They made 56 of them or
Yeah, go ahead.
26 of them or some
Not the.
limits.
It wasn't Edsel, right? It wasn't the Edsel.
I don't know.
Okay.
But they made print in each colorway of
Of the car that they produced. Yeah.
yes,
but
so
what
they
show
only
was
made
that?
the exact number of prints corresponding
That's
to the number, and I don't remember
right.
what the show was.
Can you imagine owning one of the cars and getting the print number that corresponded to your car? Oh, you're right. It was okay. It was a Derio print of that Jeff Bridges film. Great. So that. Let's see. Was Jeff Bridges in
in a movie?
Can I just
Yeah,
look up
he's in the
Jeff
new Tron
Bridges
film.
car film? Does that give me anything? Tucker, the man in his dream.
Tucker.
That's
That's it.
exactly what it is.
That's
yeah.
it.
Yeah, I remember that show too. I just remember that print. I really wanted that print, but for whatever reason, like my budget ended, and however many prints I budgeted for, that didn't make the cut, and I really loved that print. I'm gonna
remember.
guess it's not. I'm gonna guess it's not that expensive on eBay. Let me check. I'm gonna look up this Derio print on eBay, and then we'll be good to go.
Hi ho, the merry, merry oh.
Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Well, let's see. That one's $130. I don't like that. All 6 of them for $3,500. Nah, no way.
So there were 36. Didn't I say that, or I said 56 and 26?
No, I think there were 6 colorways. So that was all 6 of them. So I think there were 6 colorways.
All 6 colorways.
Right, and then there were but you're right. It was like the correct number of prints for the color.
Right. It was like if
produced.
there were 7 yellow cars produced, there were 7 yellow prints produced.
Exactly. But because of that, I'm assuming
Honestly,
by the time we were lined up, we were limited on what we could get. But
well, not us. We were able to buy stuff beforehand. But
yeah, wait in the line. But yeah,
no, we were always able to buy stuff at the openings when we did
no. I know what you're talking. Yeah, but there's still
Okay.
other people. But it's not. You're
Oh.
right. We were able to buy pre-opening. I know.
Yeah, before the opening.
Oh, that reminds me. We did do that HCG gallery before they moved in their smaller space.
So
that
speaking
gallery
of-
was crazy.
That's what I was gonna say. That print process sounds an awful lot like HCG. That's something that Adam Smasher would do.
Well, what Adam does is he knows what he's going to print, but he just enjoys. Okay, for those listening, Adam is Hero Complex Gallery. When you lay down ink on paper, the ink behaves differently based on the paper you lay it down on.
Nature versus nurture.
Right. Even if the ink fully covers it, it will still affect how it shows. And so Adam, for all of his prints, and part of it is, I'm sure part of it is like narrowing it down, and part of it is just he finds it interesting or whatever. But he showed us. They'll do a run, and maybe there's one colorway or 2 colorways, but he would pull a stack out at his gallery and just have 12 different one-offs. This one's on yellow paper, and this one's on foil, and this one's on, just because he enjoyed it. He enjoyed to see how the print reacted to like different paper. And he kept showing us print after print after print that he just had one-offs on. It was fascinating.
Well,
I was sitting there going, I don't know how he makes money, because there are so many prints sitting here instead of in people's hands. But
one of those prints is one of the ones that's now that I own. The Shape of Water was one of those, like,
one-off?
It was some sort of different paper, different paper or different ink or something. I don't remember, but he showed it to me, and I remember commenting on how much I love that movie, and he said,
yeah,
give me your address and I'll send it to you.
But the first,
okay.
I do remember that. Yeah, I'm bad at. So here's the problem, because you're really good at asking, right?
Yeah. Well, I
But
didn't
then
ask if I could have it, but I'm really good at showing affection toward things that I enjoy.
I know, but the problem is I'm with you. I've been with you several times when this has happened. The Mondo pen is another example.
Brock Otterbockers.
But then the problem is, in the wake of that, I don't feel like I can then be like, yeah, Adam, I really love this print over here, or
Yeah.
Brock, can I have that other pen off your other lapel? So that's all. I watch it go down and then feel helpless. That's it.
And I would love to say that it was calculated, but it's not. It's just me showing
Are
affection.
you looking for that gold pen right now?
Yeah, I'm sure it's like right off camera, like right over here.
Nah, I stole it. It's gone.
It might be. But yeah, like I'd love to say that I was calculated with that, but it's just my fandom gets the best of me sometimes, and I forget
Is
that I'm.
HCG still in their the space we went to when we did the showing of Christmas Carol?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay,
I think so.
cool.
Yeah, I think so.
Whatever the Marvel gallery was we went to with them, that felt like a movie premiere.
Well, yeah, it was the presented by Fandango, and it was the Thor Ragnarok release.
Yeah, that party felt rad. But I do love the new space. The space is really nice. So
we used to do so much stuff.
and then Luke left, and it was just. Do you think Luke's the reason we got all those opportunities? Kind of like a Make-A-Wish situation.
yeah, I like that.
He also would like that.
I don't know if he'd love it, but I do.
No, he'll love it. All right, cool. Throw us in and we'll get started.
Okay, here we go. Welcome to episode 580 of the Pop Culture Roundtable, the podcast that's back from our travels and ready to dish. I was making sure you changed the name. I had to look over and see if you changed it in the thing. Cool. In this episode, we talk about Creative South, The Escape Game, The Residence, The Studio, Lorcana, tariffs, and more. I'm Andrew Sale.
And I'm Patrick Hill.
So hold on tight, because this jet lag is real, and so are the stories.
I hope there's not cilantro.
What?
You said dish. This is what I don't understand. You think this is my fault, but you will set up. Do you hear the train, by the way? Oh, there's a train right now. You'll set up like one direction of thought, but then you change it right before there's going to be a comment.
No, I didn't change it. I said we're ready to dish.
You said ready to dish. That's food.
Yes. And so dish meaning like tell stories. So at the end I say the jet lag is real.
Here's what you should have said. We're ready to tell stories.
I said the podcast that's back from our travels. So travel, part A of this.
I don't
ready
need
to
hear
dish,
anymore.
part B. On the backside, I say, so hold on tight because the jet lag is real. Motherfucker. So stupid. The jet lag is real.
Yeah.
That's tying back to A.
And then I would say,
and
check
so
out
are
those jeans.
And so are the stories. Ties back to B. I'm just saying that's about as clear cut of a setup as I could give.
Maybe just send it to me 3 days in advance.
Okay. I can do that. I'll write next episode's tonight.
Okay, hold on. I got it.
Here we go.
I hope there's not cilantro. Yeah.
Got him.
And I am going to use the second take of that.
That's good. That's good. I would expect nothing worse.
This all ties back into CS too. There's nothing funnier than one of your friends mispronouncing something loudly.
It's true. Oh, my body got hot instantly. Okay, here we go. We like to kick off every episode by going back and forth across the table, which is where we talk about things that are new, fun, and noteworthy about our weeks. Several weeks. Like weeks,
yeah,
plural.
weeks would be appropriate.
Yeah. Multiple weeks combined. Patrick, this episode is going to be just a little bit free flowy. So for anybody who's tuning into this, expecting like our normal structure, this is going to be a little bit more open form, because we had a lot to talk about and just kind of to jabber about. So Patrick, why don't you just kick us off?
Yeah, let's do this. We're just gonna stay around the table for this episode. So no master categories. We'll ping pong it a bit. I do have some. There's a lot of pop culture stuff going on right now, and a lot of stuff going on in the board game industry, which I want to call out in this episode.
Yeah.
But we also have a couple big events to talk about because we're now. One of the reasons that we've been gone for an extended amount of time is travel with Creative South, a trip to Nashville, etc. And we're excited to talk about those things. So
Yes.
I will start with something light and pop culture-y,
Okay.
and then we can dive a bit deeper. So first, shout out to The Residence. So The Residence is a Netflix series. It's been out for a couple of weeks now. All the episodes have dropped. I believe this came out in early March, but I finally got a chance to watch it over this past weekend, and it is a whodunit, Clue-esque, Agatha Christie-esque. If you watch Knives Out or a film like that, it's that type of vibe, but it's over the course of 8 episodes with a very, very deep cast, primarily of comedians, but a lot of people that you'll know. And I just thought it was a very, very lovely series. It's not particularly like over the top funny, but it is a type of like, it's maybe funny in the mundane sometimes. It's funny in the endearing. There are very like slick moments. I would describe it more as a show that just puts a smile on your face and it kind of sits there, as opposed to something that has like really huge highs.
Can I interject and give you
Yeah,
maybe
absolutely.
some words to this? The way I would describe this show is the sensibility or the content and like the subject matter is very much like you said. It's Clue or Agatha Christie. The vibe of the show is like Monk, if you're familiar with the show Monk, or what's that old show with that detective, Columbo. Like it's
Yes,
that kind
yeah.
of vibe, like kind of an aloof, off the beaten path type detective who is incredibly smart, but you don't necessarily know it by how they interact with people. It feels like that.
And it is slightly hammy, but only in a, again, pushing the idea of these like classic whodunits or whatever. There are moments that are, it's not that they're suspend disbelief. I don't mean that, but the acting feels a little bit over the top, or the moment itself feels a little bit over the top, but that's just the style of the show. So if you can allow yourself to kind of give into those moments, even the moments that are, then you really enjoy it. My only critique about the show is that they do a lot of tell, which is sometimes good because, I think they're proud of the clues they hide in plain sight. And that's one of the things about this series. All the clues are in plain sight the entire season. They're not going to spring a clue on you at the end that you haven't seen and then it be part of the reveal. You get the clues the entire time. But that said, whenever they refer back to things, they're not subtle about it. So if there's a clip that is meaningful, then you might have to watch that 2 to 3 second clip 20 times or 12 times or whatever over the course of 8 episodes. That part's a little bit annoying. There was a point for me that I remembered it. I didn't need you to tell me again, So, but other than that, other than the amount of once a solve is in place reminding you, like, beyond that part, I really enjoyed it. I think it's a solid 8 out of 10 for me. And if there's a season 2, then I'll be sitting down to watch the day it drops.
Yeah, I agree. I think the one thing I liked about the show is how many different perspectives it shot of the same scene. That part reminded me a lot of like Knives Out, where you're getting the same scene from multiple perspectives, and I like how it would reshoot. Like it would a person would tell what happened, and then someone might say, "But are you sure this didn't happen?" And then they'd go, "Oh wait," and then it would replay it again with that new detail swapped. And I liked that. I liked the storytelling aspect of that. It was fun, playful.
And I would say season 3 is when those type of moments start to ramp up. Not season 3, episode 3 is when those type of moments start to ramp up. Episode 1 and 2 are a little bit less stylized in that way, and then I think the season really finds its kind of rhythm around episode 3 and continues throughout. So, but yeah, that's The Residence. Andrew, I will ping it over to you.
There's 2 shows that I want to talk about later, but I'm just going to ping them now so that I remember to talk about them later. Secret Millionaire is on Netflix, and for those of us who are fans of traders and are are in between seasons of Traitors right now, it is a great little watch. It's an 8-episode show. That's all I'm going to say about it right now. Go watch Secret Millionaire.
Practically nothing.
Practically nothing, but it will fill your Traitors hole in the meantime. And then a show that's still a current show that's coming out presently is a show on Apple TV. I think it's on Apple TV, and it's Friends and Family.
Okay.
That's the John Hamm show. Where he
yes,
is,
it just released last week, I believe.
Yeah, it was like 2 weeks ago maybe. It is he plays a very wealthy guy who has just recently gone through a divorce, and he has all these friends who are wealthy. Like, he's an investment person, right? He's an investment broker or something, and he loses his job in the first episode, and then he finds himself trying to figure out how to make life happen, and he gets frustrated with his friends who are just kind of basically flaunting their extravagance in his face, and decides to basically start stealing from them. And it's really well done. They do this really cool, like, kinetic typography and like these graphic overlays. The intro is really, really nice too. It's like all this slow motion, everything is kind of exploding around him. You know, his world is kind of falling apart. And I could not have been prouder of Becca when I said it was like episode 3 or maybe mid episode 2, and I said this show really could have been called Breaking Bad. And she just looked at me and she said, "You mean Breaking Mad?" And I shook her hand. I was so proud. I'm like, I have nothing left to teach you.
Fair play.
I have nothing left to teach you. So it was really good. So we're really enjoying that show. The show that we have been watching together, you and I have been watching together, is one that I do want to talk a little bit more at length about, and that's The Studio, and that is by Apple TV definitively, and it's Seth Rogen and Evan. I don't remember his partner's name, but Seth and Evan, who have basically been partners on all of their major projects. And it's about a studio exec who becomes the CEO. Nope, who becomes the studio head. Thank you. Of a fictional movie studio that takes place in our real world present day. So it's kind of like there's kind of the 5 big movie studios that all exist. You know, there's the studios that are making the Marvel movies exist in this. All of the Oscar movies exist in this. Like, these big budget franchises exist in this world. But then there's also Continental, which has also existed for the last 100 and whatever years in this universe. And it's a show about the movie industry, and Seth Rogen does an incredible job. The cast in this show is phenomenal. I should have pulled it up in front of me. I had it, and then I went to the residence.
Kind of in the same way that what's the Only Murders in the Building? The latest season of that show really was is it the latest season, or was it this or maybe the season before? It was really kind of giving honor to theater, right? The theater industry, and they were working that throughout the storylines, the beats of the episodes, the humor, all those things. And The Studio, in a lot of ways, just feels like this big hug for Hollywood. The bad parts, the good parts, whatever, but it just feels like a big hug for the industry and a lot of people that make it happen. And the episodes themselves are fairly different one to another, because they're paying homage to these either different directors or these genres or etc.
Yeah, and so let me give you a quick list of people who are in the show. Seth Rogen, like I said, he's the lead. And then you've got Ike Barinholtz, Catherine Hahn, Bryan Cranston, Catherine O'Hara, and then
Catherine Hahn's character is amazing.
And all of those people play characters.
Right.
But there are a ton of actual celebrities playing themselves, movie stars, directors, like Martin Scorsese is in the first episode, playing himself. And then, oh my gosh, what's Steve Buscemi
Mhm.
playing himself, or is it Buscemi, or is it Buscemi? We'll find out. And just a whole slew. Evan, not Evan. What's Evan's brother's name?
I
From
know, I don't remember, but exactly,
gosh,
like every episode has no less than a half dozen celebrities
Zac
playing
Efron. Good lord.
themselves. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, just doing
Yes.
cameos during the episode.
Yeah. It's incredibly well written, and then like Patrick said, each episode is different because each episode is paying homage to a different either style of film
Mhm.
or a different element of the movie industry. For instance, he does this whole episode. It's called The Oneer, and it's about a oneer. And if you don't know what a oneer is, it's getting an elongated scene of a TV show or a movie, all shot at one time with the least amount of
A
cuts
single
as possible.
take, yeah. Or at least the appearance
Or
of a
the
single
appearance of
take,
it,
if
yeah.
not literally a single take, yeah.
And this episode is a 22-minute long episode that is about a oneer trying to be caught at magic hour, like at that twilight in between like the 4:30 and 5:30 hour in Hollywood. And the show actually was a oneer shot during the
While they themselves are trying to also catch the same thing.
So it's meta and it's wonderful. And the show is just really good. In fact, it shows a lot about how Seth Rogen has really committed to this world of cinema, because it's not just he's just not placating to whatever the most modern technology is, or going completely vintage. He's really giving the best shot of what the thing looks beautiful. The thing and sounds beautiful. It seems very cinematic, even though it is a TV show.
If you don't follow closely, it would be easy to imagine Seth Rogen as trying to be the least responsible person in the room historically.
Yes.
Just trying to have a laugh, trying to talk shit, trying to whatever. And then watching Seth Rogen both in the role but understanding his part in creating this, suddenly you realize, oh, he might actually be the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah.
And it's it really, and this is something that people who follow Seth Rogen I'm sure have known for a long time, but it really puts him and his career in a totally new light while watching.
Totally. It's I'd say this transition's been happening with him, at least for me anyway, for like the last maybe 3 or 4 years.
Mhm.
But yeah, like gone are the days where you just look at him and just blow him off as just some stoner guy. I mean, he is an entrepreneur. He is like he is a guy who understands industry, and it seems incredibly smart. And he has aligned himself with people who fill in his gap. Like he understands, because I've listened to some of his interviews, he understands where he maybe isn't the smartest person in the room. And so what he does is he aligns himself with the people who are the smartest people in the room on those topics, so that they can enhance the team. And so anyway, the studio is 100%, like it's a 10 out of 10 for me. You should go check it out. The season is still unfolding. I sure hope that this show continues, because it's a lot of fun. So, Patrick,
right.
you mentioned something about Nashville. What's happening with Nashville?
Oh, don't make me save my serious topic for the end.
I want you to save your serious topic for the end.
Okay. We were supposed to podcast a couple weeks ago, and we didn't because of an opportunity that we got. All the stars aligned, and by stars I really just mean the wind and the rain. But those items align, and we were able to, a friend of ours flew us. He owns a plane, and he flew us to Nashville, specifically so we could go to the escape room. This is an escape room that I think we've done all the rooms that are in Texas, and we've done I think all the ones that were, I know we've done all the ones in like San Antonio and Austin. I think we've done all the ones in Orlando, and but they were started in Nashville, and because
those were represent of those the locations that we had been to. they represented all of the rooms that were available around the country. So we had done
Yeah, I
all
think
of the
maybe
rooms available.
Sans 1, we had done all of them, and that
Yes.
Sans 1 at the time was the one in Nashville. So
Yep.
the escape game started in Nashville. And because of that, if you go to the original location, I think it's the Berry Hill location, they have a room called Nashville. And that's the first room that they developed. And so therefore, that's the room that started to build this now, countrywide
Empire.
I didn't want to say nationwide because they're not insurance related. And in fact, I don't even know what insurance is like for an escape room.
I actually
but
also think that they're overseas now too. I think they're international. I think there's something
great. We'll
like
just say Empire.
global
But
phenomenon.
if you want to do the Nashville room, the first room, you have to go to the Nashville Berry Hill location. So we knew this ahead of time. We talked to our friend. Andrew, you came over early for Creative South, so we were able to fly to Nashville to go do the Nashville escape room. If you get a chance to do it, and if you enjoy escape rooms, you should do it. From the standpoint that I do think the escape game, in terms of a chain of escape rooms, I don't think anybody comes close to the quality that they're putting out. At least none of the
Yeah.
places that we've done in a couple of states. But what was interesting is how low tech the Nashville room was compared to a lot of their newer games. Now, in escape rooms, I'm not a fan of games where you don't get to feel your contribution. What I mean to say is that it's kind of like driving a car that only has like a touch screen and you can't feel yourself click a button or like touch a knob, and you want that tactile feedback. It's a similar thing in an escape room. If everything happens on a screen, then it takes away some level of the satisfaction for actually escaping from the room or solving a puzzle, etc. Now, they do a pretty good job of staying away from that. They do have a room called Sabotage, which does have more of the kind of like tablet features. But for the most, I believe it's Sabotage. But for the most part, their rooms do a good job of giving you feedback. You feel like your actions directly contribute to a reaction. Nothing feels pressed behind the curtain. Nothing feels hand triggered, etc. The game is in your hands. Okay. That said, Nashville, it was even further that direction because it's all the classic bits of an escape room. Almost everything was a lock, or it was a series of numbers, or in some ways not a lot of variety in that it's all lower tech stuff, but at the same time it was a lot of variety within the lower tech. So it felt like a smaller escape room, but still to a high degree of quality. And knowing that this is their first escape room, I don't know how much it's been modified over the years or enhanced over the years, but the room itself, in terms of like the theming they do, it's still, for being their first room, still felt a step above the average room that you go visit. So for the ones we did that day, we ended up doing 3 rooms that day, correct?
Well, we found out that there was another room that didn't exist back when we did this research a year ago.
Right. So the day was, we got to do the room that was the first they created. If you get a chance to do it, go do it. They also had another room there that we were told that even though it's available at other locations do not compare to the level of theming they've invested in it at their flagship location.
Yes.
Similarly to if you were to go on a roller coaster, how the whole like line is themed even before you get to the coaster.
Yeah.
For this escape room, they had an entire themed waiting area that was separate.
Lobby, yes.
That was completely separate from the rest of the business. So if you're
Had
doing
its own
any other
bathrooms
room,
and everything, like the whole
everything, it was wild, and it had audio like cues to the ride, and it honestly felt like we left an escape game and we're sitting in some corner of a Disney park. It was bizarre.
It was very immersive. Very immersive.
How immersive this area was, again, compared to what you normally see. And so we were able to do that room as well. Aztec theme room. Aztec typically, that's probably my least favorite stylistically. This is the best performing Aztec room I've done, but again,
and this one
style.
kind of goes the exact opposite direction. This one is very automated.
Right.
It's not screens. Everything is still tactile, but everything is
I
automated.
dare you to find a lock in that room.
Like, yeah, exactly. And then and everything worked. Like things animated and moved and worked in sync, and like walls closed in on you. Literal.
There
walls
was
closing
one
in.
room that literally, I didn't even notice it. This shows you how observant I am. But by the time we finished, the room was literally half the size it was when we started. I didn't realize that the walls were literally closing in on us the entire
Literally
time we were doing the
squeezing
room.
in on, yeah.
And then we found out while we were there. So we went there to do 2 rooms. I had meetings I had to do. So I was going to like do 2 rooms in the morning, do my meetings at a coffee shop. We get on the plane, we go back because we're supposed to record the podcast episode. We're supposed to do other things. And while we were there, the host told us, hey, we literally just opened a room yesterday. It's a brand new room. It's not at this location. It's at the downtown location. But he was saying that he thinks it's the best one we've released. And it's only been out a day and it's only here. And so that set in motion us rearranging our schedules.
Yeah.
So
how do
we
we
could
make
then
this happen? Yeah.
make this room happen. So I had to go do my meetings, which is bizarre. The whole time, Andrew, you and Jonathan, you're making the times work, figuring out the things you can push, rearrange, etc. But it let us to go and do this 3rd room. What was the name of the room? Do you remember?
Something Yeti.
Something Yeti. Great. But it allows us to do a 3rd room. Now, it turns out the 3rd room was a reskin of a previous room we had done. And when I say reskin, I don't mean the puzzles were reskinned, all new puzzles, but the room itself was a room we had done previously that they had just reskinned. So from that standpoint, we knew the layout of the room, where doors would open up, etc.
We knew how many rooms there were going to be just based on, this is going to open this, which means we're going to go into this portion, which is going to lead to this portion. Yeah.
Exactly. But
that didn't help us though.
Yeah, you would think it would help us. Didn't help us. Oh, but that said, we did get to do a 3rd room before we headed back. So all in all, great experience. Only mildly airsick. Getting to do 3 escape rooms. I will say we got progressively worse every room. Nashville room, we had 22 minutes left over when we finished. And then when we got to the last room, it was just like, please get us out of here.
It was like 2 minutes and
burnt.
2 seconds. It was
it was awful.
I didn't think
for the
we were
last
gonna
one.
make it.
I will say last room I did not enjoy as much because I made the comment about I like my actions to cause the reaction and things to be responsive. The last room had an element that a team member had to intervene for. You cannot do it unless they see you do something on a screen and they come over and they have to then perform a thing.
Interact with
they have to interact with you.
There is a performer involved in the final room.
And because of that, it like delays the did I do it right? Like it didn't just happen automatically. I have to like wait on feedback. That kind of like throws off the rhythm.
I think we probably lost 30 to 45 seconds just of waiting to see if we were going to get the right thing back.
Yeah.
In exchange for what we were doing. So, yeah, which did feel a little annoying.
I mean, great. I enjoyed the room theming, all that stuff. I walked out from that day actually enjoying the Nashville room the most. I think you enjoyed the Aztec style room the most.
I did, yeah.
But all in all, great day. Huge shout to Jonathan for flying us to Nashville. And huge shout to the universe for giving us really smooth skies.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't think my stomach could have handled anything else.
Yeah. Did you want to show people the skies?
Oh, yeah. Actually, we have a picture. I forgot we had a picture. This is like 10 minutes before we landed on the way back home. This is why we weren't podcasting. You're pulling it up, right?
Yep, trying to. Here we go.
Great. So you can see what we were looking at instead. And so it's not that we didn't want to podcast at night. Oh, that is so... Okay, there it is. But like that's what we were staring at. Isn't that just...
Oh, it's only showing our actual text thread. It's not showing the actual...
Yeah, that's bizarre.
That's
weird.
But that's
anyway,
the
point is that's what we were looking at. So I'll let you figure out for the other images. But if it wasn't for the fact that I thought that I was gonna throw up in the back seat, I really would have enjoyed this view. But yeah.
Where are we at here?
Yeah, where are we at, Andrew?
Is it sending us back to... That was weird.
It's fine.
What happened? We lost our duo. What's happening?
You haven't deleted that media source yet, but it's okay. I will fix it.
I did delete that media source. That's what I don't understand.
It's broken forever.
Well, it's a good thing that we're not live yet. This is preamble, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. Going to Nashville was a lot of fun, and a huge thanks to Jonathan. And it genuinely felt like we like if we all lived together, like there would be chances that we would do that once a month probably.
And this
fly
is
somewhere just to do an event of some sort.
And with that said, Andrew, you got a big announcement, right?
Well, I'm moving to Chattanooga, baby.
Yeah, there we go.
Next the next 4 months we'll be packing up and we'll
That's
be
right.
heading over. It's a really long move process.
Yeah.
Taking
hope
things
and
one call at a time.
Becca, you'll tell her after this.
Yeah, this is how she's finding out. We'll basically push the baby out and then we'll head to Chattanooga. Probably same day. I don't see why we couldn't do that. We are on the 9-week countdown though, which is crazy.
That's nuts.
So this was Easter weekend, and I got a couple of packs of Lorcana in my Easter basket that Becca gave me, and I need to say that we're on the seventh set. I haven't gotten an enchanted in the last 3 sets. Okay, I've opened a lot of cards to not get any enchanteds, and so this weekend.
Not really.
I opened.
I think the issue is you were too lucky to start with, and it has forever
It's marred the rest of my experience.
affected your ability to have fun and boyish wonder and all those things.
I got a handful of packs for Easter, and literally back-to-back packs I opened enchanted. So I managed to get 2 enchanteds.
Holy cow!
And they're really pretty. They're fun enchanteds. But this is the new enchanted. I hadn't even been able to show these on air because I hadn't gotten them yet. It's a different kind of foil, if you can tell. And they're full art now. There's a lot different about how they have designed them. But anyway, managed to get 2 enchanteds, which was nice and unexpected. So that's my quick little Lorcana update. Like Patrick said, I came in early into town because we were doing Creative South. And Creative South, if you're unaware, is a creative conference that brings in speakers from all sorts of different industries, usually in the field of graphic design or like mixed media, typography, things like that. We've been going for years. We take the last 2 years off, I think. I think it was the last 2 years. But we came back in.
We went to the first one post-COVID. And then they changed venues. We did not go to the 2 in the new venue. So this was our first time seeing the new venue.
Yes. So I'm gonna try to share. Actually, Patrick, why don't you tell while I get this in a different setup? So that I can show
every
these better.
time we go to one of these events, what we want to do is we want to sit down and talk to people that attend. And we want to try to find a way to engage with them. And that's always kind of a tricky thing to do because you can only physically talk to so many people, but you want to try to interact with everybody if you have a chance to. And so we did that 2 ways. One of those ways is we had a preset list of questions, and we allowed people to roll a set of dice, and those dice would determine what questions. They rolled 3 dice, and those became the 3 questions we were going to ask them during a sit down. Now, for the people that we weren't able to talk with, but the people that still want to participate, etc. And again, not just participating, but we want to give back to the event we're at. Well, the event features a big peach logo. So we took that logo and we created, we just printed out all these blanks so that people could come up, grab a peach, they could illustrate it or color it, or I didn't care what they did. They could have, taken a photo somewhere and cut it out to be the same shape. I didn't really care. The point is they could apply their art style to this peach and hang it on the board. And then over the course of the weekend, this board would just grow as more people contributed to it and make a bit of this community art piece.
Yes.
So
I'm gonna do my best now to show this in a better way. Okay, here we go.
Okay, here we go. Thereby maybe messing up another one of our scenes. But yeah, so this is one of those boards. We have, actually this is 2 boards. We have a 3rd board with even more peaches.
Yep.
But you can see there are some people that did type. A lot of people chose just color. Some people did illustrations. You don't see it on, I mean, if you look under the A and you're a peach, there's like someone who had a dog with them illustrated their dog into that peach. In the bottom left, that's or second from the bottom left, that's another like illustrated piece. It's like looks like a scene from a comic book. Some people like defied the lines. Either what they did is they extended the hard lines of the edge and then added a new white border so they could alter the shape of the peach. Or some people cut into the peach the same way. You kind of see that in the middle left of the bottom board.
I'll show another example. Let me share this one.
Yeah, this is the third board of peaches that we had as well, and
if you look
can just
at the
see
very
the variety
bottom,
of styles.
the very bottom one with the green that's melting off, that like the thing is just like dripping.
On the bottom left, that's a great example.
They really, really went to town. And if you look at the top right corner on this one, that was a fully illustrated, fully colored, detailed drawing of downtown Columbus, Georgia, like where the conference was taking place. And so much was loved by the conference curator and putter honor of Creative South that I believe he's taking at least that one to the city, what is it, like the
City of Commerce, whatever it's called.
City Hall or something like that. And
to actually give it to them.
And this is a scenario in which I'm super glad that I put, if you can't see it, at the bottom of each peach, there's kind of like a little break in the black line, and that has Creative South and M of One logos in there. So I'm really glad I incorporated those into the actual peach and not just on the sheet that everyone got.
Do y'all see that Yoshi like a third of the way from the left and also like towards the middle? I freaking love that Yoshi so much.
It's really good.
But that you'll see at the top left corner, those are predominantly like just patterns, just like inked patterns. But so much variety. This idea, so the theme this year was around like Waffle House / diner. And if you've ever been to a Waffle House, sometimes if they're doing like let's say they're taking up money for a cause, you'll donate a couple of dollars and you'll get a lot of times it's this little like a hot air balloon, but it's you'll get this little,
or like at Chili's you get a chili,
right? And then you color it and then you leave it on the window. And so that's where this idea came from. It's a similar type of thing, but it was just awesome seeing how many people contributed to these. I think Andrew, you said there's something like 105 different peaches.
I think there were 107. I think there were 107 was the number.
And for an event that had, I think 500 people or 450 people, that's a pretty high percentage of people that we're able to interact with. A
lot of the speakers are represented on these boards too.
Yeah, several of the speakers. Only one of them that I think we deeply offended, but I think for the most part, the other ones are cool with us. I think we still owe an apology to Alan Peters, but I think
I did apologize to him. I apologized to him via social media, and we're all good. I think he's going to come on the show sometime in the not too distant future.
Yeah, sometimes comedy doesn't land with people, and I really felt like it might not be landing in that case. But
I'm going to try to stop sharing
awesome
this.
So
yeah,
go ahead.
It's going to put us back in the same position. So I don't know what we need to do here.
No, it's fine. We're good. How can I just kick this? I'm just going to remove it. Look, we're good.
Great.
So, and I'll do that to the other one too, because it turns out I now have the power to.
Yeah, good.
I figured it out. So
I'd love for you to tell me how to do that.
No, I just would rather just know and not tell you. I need people to be relying on me.
It's a nice power trip that you got going over there.
But you pointed out something that I didn't think of. Because we wanted to do that for all the reasons that I mentioned, but I didn't consider the fact that these events are not purely extroverts. In fact, these events have a lot of people that of course they want to be there, and they may even deeply want to interact with other people or the event, but with other people, but they're introverted. It's hard for them to actually open their mouth or strike up a conversation or etc. So it's much easier just to sit in the back of the room, stand in the back of the room, whatever, than it is to join in the community from like a conversation standpoint. Yeah. However, they don't have a problem joining into community, leveraging their art, leveraging their thing they're highly confident in. And so it was amazing the amount of times that you would look up and like you would just have a sea of people that they
Yeah.
might not say it. They might not say a word to us. They might not even talk to the people standing around them, but they were so excited to contribute and to be part of something. And it was really awesome to support the introverts.
Genuinely, like it felt like I had a feeling this would be successful, but I had no idea how successful it would be so quickly. People rapidly got on board with this idea, and we started filling up boards right away. And it was really fun to see people go up. And like you said, like some people would draw and never say a word to us, and some people would not even say like, where do I put this? But they would just kind of gesture like, can I go put, like they wouldn't even, this would be happening with their eyes and their body movement, not with any actual words. Like, can I go put it on the board? And go put it wherever you want. And they'd be like sheepishly putting it up on the board. But some of those were some of the best pieces too. Like incredibly talented people who probably would not have talked to many other people or interacted with us in a hot seat, who wouldn't put themselves out there to do that, but would color. They would take these things away. They would take them to other places, and they would work on them. They'd take some of our supplies and go somewhere else, work on them on their own, and then bring them back. Our table was regularly full of people. We were having to like straighten it up and clean it up the entire time, and it was so fun to be able to.
It almost created a problem for us because there were a couple of times we could not do hot seats because there were people just sitting all the way around our table.
Yes, there was so much. And if you managed to catch any of our podcasting that we did live, then great. That was a lot of fun. We will be doing we will be releasing those hot seat episodes as audio, and then we're gonna do a kind of a master cut.
Like a super cut. Exactly.
A super cut, that's what they're called. A great clips.
But yeah, I think there's like 20 episodes in total, something like that we'll be releasing over the next few weeks.
And that ranges that's mostly speakers or vendors and people, but there's a handful of just conference attendees who jumped in the seat as well. But it was great.
80% Doc Reed's family.
yeah.
And everything else speakers.
It was a lot of fun to be able to reconnect with a bunch of the people that we've known for years. Something that was different this year. They do these college student portfolio reviews, and this year we were asked to do that if we wanted to judge a portfolio review. Patrick's response was yes, but we have to do it as a team. Everyone else was doing it individually, but Patrick and I sat, and we were the only duo team who was basically giving rapid fire feedback to these college students. There were 100 students thereabouts. We know because we had to go pick up ice cream for them. There's 100 college students
and spoons separately,
and spoons as a separate trip. Yeah. And at we gave them feedback. We didn't see all 100. We saw 8. And they had 24 hours basically to make the adjustments whatever adjustments they wanted to make based on our feedback. And then they had to present it to a panel, and then they were awarded, they were awarding scholarships. There were 5 different scholarships based on that. 2 of the people who were awarded scholarships were 2 of our students. So,
feels good.
We're changing lives, folks.
And it honestly might have been in spite of us. It might have been complete rebellion.
Maybe.
But Bert and Ernie, that's what I refer to us as when we work together. We showed
Ernie.
up. It felt good. Yeah. No. I loved that, by the way.
Me too. I really, really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun, and it genuinely felt like something. It felt like, that we do have information. And because it was the 2 of us, some of the people had UI UX stuff that they wanted to, that was the industry they wanted to move into. And then some of them were like more graphic designers. And so we were able to just pivot. Like you would take most of the conversation and most of the feedback for the UX UI stuff, and I would take most of the feedback and it felt like, we're able to share some of our institutional knowledge with these students and hopefully help them.
Yeah. Let me say this to everybody listening. You know more than you think you know. You know more than you realize you know, and you can absolutely contribute to someone else's knowledge or someone else's success. Um, I it's one of those things that until you start talking to someone, like until you put yourself in a position to help someone, you're not going to feel that. And you can try to prepare for it or get ready for it. You're not going to feel that. But I guarantee you, if you sit down with the intention of helping someone and try to help someone, you have so much more to offer than you realize you have to offer.
Yeah.
So if you get an opportunity to do something similar and to speak into someone that's up and coming or trying to get where you are, absolutely take that opportunity. And don't think that you're not qualified to do it or that you couldn't replicate it or any number of excuses. Like, take the opportunity.
Totally. The other thing I got to be a part of was judging the Ink Wars competition this year. And one of the things that, one, we knew most of the people who were competing. They're friends of ours, friends of the show. We've known for years.
We pre-decided who was going to win for sure.
I had already said this is what's going to happen. We'll cut that part. But what I realized the night of the bridge party, first of all, they do this party every year. They used to do it to kick off the conference. They've switched it now to be mid-conference, which I actually think is a better position for it, honestly. But at the bridge party, we really, this truth we had been trying to weed out what felt so different about this year really came into clear focus, which is we are now being asked to judge and host things because we are now the older generation. And there were two kind of really distinct groups. There's the young, brand new, fresh face, just out of college. They're getting their career up and going. And then there's those who have been around. And we are now part of the old people. And I knew this because while I was standing in line at the bridge party to get a donut, a student came up to me and gave me his business card and said, I would love it if you would look at my portfolio and give me some feedback on it. And I'm like, oh man. Like, this wasn't in the context of actually doing the, I mean, I'm assuming the student saw that we were doing that earlier, but this wasn't someone that we had talked to earlier in the day. And I just realized, like, oh, we're now to the stage where people just assume that we have wisdom. I mean, that's really ill-advised.
Yeah. But I mean, it's on one hand, it feels good that the relationship we've been building, because it's not like a first year thing. The relationship we've been building is culminating in having influence.
Yeah.
That's something you kind of want to have, etc. But the flip side is I also realized that in some ways, this is the most relaxed I felt, in that I maybe least wanted, I least felt compelled to be front and center or to try to be noticed, if that makes sense. Like,
totally.
my goal this year, our goal this year was to, we're doing our own thing, but was to really just blend in with everybody else and just have fun without like some objective on top of that.
And in some ways we were more brought into the limelight as an after piece, not because of anything we were doing, but just genuinely based on reputation and having been around, and we've garnered trust with this conference. And it was cool to be able to actually attend pieces of the conference. Like, usually that doesn't always happen, right? Like, you have to catch things in between things. But this year it was great being able to hear. I got to hear from some people who I've been following for a few years. James Barnard was there, and got to have dinner with him, and it was a freaking blast. And I got to have dinner and meet the guys from the Angry Design podcast, which I'd never met before.
Gosh,
but
listen to that
people.
Hot Seat, absolutely. Listen to all of them. But that was such a fun conversation.
Just great time. So
hey. And when you're talking about like two separations, right? You have like the young and the old.
Yes.
You have young, and then you have old, and then you have the angry.
The Angry Designers podcast. Yeah.
So there's actually maybe three, and we haven't got to that level yet. So,
but even oddly, they were asking our advice on things. So like, we still somehow
was
felt
that who gave you his business card? Did he give it to you for portfolio?
Could you take a look at our podcast? Let us know what we're doing. It was just a great year all around. It was much needed. I didn't realize how much I needed to disconnect from just life and everything that's going on, and it ended up being just wonderful. It was great to spend a week with you and Mackenzie and at the house. Your house is really nice. For those who don't know, Patrick and Mackenzie have recently moved into their home, and it's a really nice house. Beautiful area. Went on a walk on the greenway that they have there. We watched the Masters. It was just great.
Sure.
Your TV is incredibly too high up, but you
It's
know
so
that.
high.
Working
It's so high.
You're working on that. It's like
I
think
want to
the TV
fix
is like
it.
7 feet off the bottom of it is like 7 feet off the ground.
I just tell it like it's not even that expensive. Well, it's like $400 to get the mount to fix it, but then I would have to like take that TV down, and then I have to install the mount, and it honestly might stay that way the rest of the time we have the house.
Yeah, I guess it's possible. But yeah, all in all, the trip was necessary.
You did leave us
and
with
fun.
one thing though.
What did I leave you?
I say you didn't, I did, but you were part of it, which is that we were able to go play disc golf one time.
Oh yes.
And I had a terrible throw, ended up in a river. We could not see it, and it had been raining, muddy, etc. Gone, right? You leave.
Mm-hmm.
So we play that day, you leave that day. Next day, Mackenzie and I go back. I see it. Like the water had gone down just enough that you could just see the like silt covered circle sitting down there.
Mm-hmm.
And Mackenzie, you know, $25 is $25. I don't want to have to replace that disc. And that disc was broken in. That was my favorite disc. I throw it so well, as you could see. And so
I mean,
Mackenzie
you replaced
said,
that disc you replaced that disc 8 times. You can do a new mount.
Exactly. So Mackenzie said that she would go get it. And I wasn't going to stop her. In fact, I encouraged it. Maybe even before she said she would go get it.
Pretty hard to get down there.
It was. I kind of had to hold her hand, and she just had to kind of fall over the edge. And then I had to like pull her back up. Somehow in the process of all this, she got poison ivy. She got it on both of her arms and on her leg. I have now, for not wanting to replace a $25 disc, I've now spent $80 in poison ivy cream to try to get Mackenzie to stop itching and weeping.
Get in that chat, Becca. Get in that chat. I think we just realized what my issue has been. Do you see this Band-Aid on my wrist? Okay, it's hard to show. I thought I got bit by something while it started that night after we had played disc golf. And it itched, and I just was trying not to itch it. And then it started spreading up my arm a little bit. And Becca was like, you need to do, like, we started putting like Benadryl cream on it and stuff like that. And I think we've just realized that Becca is no longer tuning in. Because she would be lighting up the chat right now about this, because she's been telling me that I need to do like a teledoc appointment. I'm like, no, we'll just see. I must have just gotten bit by like a spider or something like that. It is finally starting to go away. But
it can last for a couple of weeks. That's what we learned. That it can literally last for like 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah. That's so good to know. I was actually going to tell you.
It's here. It's on her ankle in several spots.
It's on my ankles too. Oh my gosh. I am so glad that this is true. I'm sorry for you, Mackenzie, but this is helpful for me because I could not figure out why 2 spots on either of my ankles and then this one spot on my wrist has been breaking out. It just didn't make sense. Now
but we literally walked through the same course. So that's where we're at. And so anyway, in the future, I'll probably replace the disc. That would have now been cheaper. I could have bought several more discs for my bag at this point.
Wait a minute. Yeah. You didn't get the disc?
No, we did.
Oh, okay. I thought the end of that story was... Okay, I thought the end of the story was...
In what we've spent for cream, I could have bought 2 discs instead.
Okay, yes, I see what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, it had, the economics still aren't playing out correctly. But that is like the parting gift. We did rescue the disc. We played disc golf and my bag did not change. Mackenzie is still suffering from it and may be suffering for another week.
I'm sorry, but that's great for me. Like that brings
that makes you feel so much better.
Well, it at least saves me a teledoc appointment.
Yeah.
So I think the difference, what happened with Mackenzie was asking in the chat, like if it had spread. It spread a little bit, but I pretty quickly bandaged it up. And so I wasn't scratching it directly, so I wasn't spreading it. And I think that's what saved it from, but it did spread some. It spread up my wrist a little bit, but I'm so...
That's all. I think I've learned I'm pretty immune to it because what's funny is if I touch like Mackenzie's arm or something, at least in the last couple days, I will briefly like start itching from it, but then it just goes away. So I don't know. Maybe I have thick skin. Not literally,
Well,
not like
let's
emotionally.
find out. Let's find out. You're
Not
an idiot.
emotionally, but only in terms of unhealth. Who knows? All right.
My skin can't feel anything.
Anything else to call from Creative South? Any big moments to call out before I get into my political piece?
We got to take someone to their first Waffle House. That was pretty.
We did. We got to take
special.
Lightning and Arrows.
Yeah. Ernie Zilsmendorf.
Ernie Zilsdorf. He's a part of the community. Never been to Waffle House before. Again, this Creative South was about Waffle Houses / diners. I mean, it's about Waffle House. And so on our last day, don't let him know that we forgot about this briefly, but he reminded us. So before leaving town.
When are we going to Waffle House? Yes.
Yeah, we for sure did not forget we were going to take
It's for sure
you to Waffle House.
happening.
It's going to happen. Yeah, we're going to get home an hour later now, but it's going to happen. So as soon as the last speaker finished, we took Ernie. We got a group of like, I think 8 or 10 people. Ray, Will, Jenny. We all went to Waffle House and Luke.
And Luke.
And Luke.
New friend Luke.
Ernie had his first Waffle House experience. It's not the full experience because it wasn't 2:00 in the morning. Nobody was drunk. Nobody fought anybody. But man, that waffle was so good.
Yeah.
Even as a person that wasn't even really hungry, that waffle was so good.
The other thing I will say that was notable about Creative South was getting to meet the team that you work with now. And I knew several of them just because of Creative South. But half of the people that we talked to on the show in the hot seat were Heyo team members. And I think a few of them were very notable. Everyone was super nice and fun. Sure. But Courtney was rad. I'm excited to play D&D with her. Christopher was super cool and fun too. Like
very low opinion of us, but very fun.
Very low opinion of us.
Yeah.
He can't even bother to get your name right.
Trying to test his microphone, and he was like, "Is this the episode?"
Yeah, we're like, "No, we just asked you to talk."
What?
And how do you think we do this?
Yeah.
But so meeting the team was great. We hung out a lot with Ray Torres, Inked Flame. She was there. She was a speaker this year. She was a workshop host this year, and
she was
did
doing
Ink Wars.
everything this year.
She literally did everything, and so we hung out with her, and it was a lot of fun. So yeah, all in all, this year was the relationship year. This year we really got to pour into relationships, and just have a great. And the venue is so much better. I think I loved it. It's just so nice. The new venue is great. So Mike, if you're listening, great job. Don't change a thing. Yeah, so.
I mean, I'll send you a list of things to change, but otherwise
we have a significant list of things that need to be adjusted. But besides that,
don't change a thing.
Primo.
All right, I have one more item on my list,
and
then I'll throw it back. And then I'll throw it back to you. But I do have. And we mentioned tariffs at the top of the show, and there's a fascinating situation unfolding in the board game industry that will very likely affect us. It'll very likely, for those of us that use Kickstarter, affect pre-orders. It probably already has. It will very likely affect what we see on the shelf and how much it is. And that's that because of tariffs that are being enacted on the U.S. side, it is now becoming unfeasible financially to import new games into the U.S. So Stonemeyer had a blog today. So Jamie Stagmeyer, who we've had on the show before, he runs Stonemeyer Games.
Yeah.
They make Scythe, one of my favorite games, along with other games. But Scythe is the only one I care about, so I'm throwing that out there. But he had a blog post today called "We Are Suing the President of the United States." We posted this over in our Slack, and he goes on to explain that they had a lot of games in production. These are games that were ready to ship. After they were produced, these tariffs were enacted. I think it's up to something crazy like 245% now. And so what this means is that something like 60% of the inventory they produce, they sell in the U.S. So if they have, $100,000 of inventory, at least what they've paid $100,000 for, sitting in China, they want to move to the US. They now have to pay 245% of that cost on top of it, just as a fee to get that inventory into the US. Well, at that point, because of what their markup is, which is very low, he goes into detail in the blog, and so does the guy from Cephalofair Games that does Gloomhaven. He also has another blog, and he goes into detail, breaks down the numbers. So if you're curious, check those out. But they basically show that, number one, it prevents them from having a wholesale business. But number two, they end up, they would have to, not only would they lose money on the game, but the only way to make money on the game would be to double or more the triple the price of the game itself. Yeah. And if consumers aren't willing to pay for that, then it's just not possible. So it puts them in a situation where they have a couple options. One option is to sell as much as they can to other countries. Another option, which is what they're doing currently, is just to leave those games in a warehouse in China, pay to store them, and hope the situation changes. Or they just have to decide to not sell in the U.S. The issue is, and again, Cephalofair and Stonemeyer talk about this, the infrastructure does not exist in the U.S. to produce these games. It's not just a matter of saying, well, instead of producing there, we'll produce here. When you're producing a board game, you have injection molding, and you have printing, and you have different types of like stocks, and you have tokens, and you have coins, and you have all these different materials. It's not all produced by a single factory. So not only are you, finding the factory produce it, but you're also hiring a project manager who is coordinating with multiple factories in order to like bring all these things together for the price you've agreed on, packages them up, get them ready to deliver. And so some of those processes do not exist at all in the US. And then you would still have to then piece them all together. Games would get exponentially more expensive, and it's just outside of the range that a consumer is willing to pay for the game. On top of that, because all these amounts have changed so quickly and without really warning, it puts them in a position that if they go, there's no guarantee that the situation's not going to change 30 days from now, right, or 5 days from now, or etc. And so they don't have confidence that if they make changes, they can actually anticipate good changes to make. And again, we're not talking about producing new games. We're talking about tariffs on things that they agreed to pricing, here, produced, yes, etc. They're ready to ship, and there's no provision for things that were produced prior to this being announced. And so they're just kind of screwed. Other industries have managed to get exemptions, cell phone industry, for instance. But unfortunately, board games is not an industry that's been able to get an exemption. And so you're kind of put in a position where it feels like the really, really big players, they ultimately will come out unscathed. And then all the relatively smaller companies, they're the ones that take the brunt of this. So with that said,
that's true with most anything, right?
Yeah, it is. But I'm just repeating what Stonemeyer said.
You're just dipping your toes in politics. We're not going to like dive head in.
Cephalofair is the same way. Gloomhaven, the second edition, will not ship. It's sitting in a warehouse now. It was supposed to ship. It was ready to ship. I think initially he had committed when we were talking about, like 105% or whatever tariffs, they had committed, we're just going to eat it and just ship it anyway. And then now that it's up to like 245%, it can't happen anymore. I mean, they would owe millions of dollars to get their inventory into the U.S.
On that article from Jamie, I was just reading it while you were talking, and they just for their 8-person company that is all U.S. based, it's going to cost $1.5 million to get the games that are already produced overseas to us.
So this is what we'll see. We're going to see projects that were funded that are produced that just hadn't shipped yet. Those might just be stuck. They might just sit in warehouses. If something changes 30 days from now, great. I do know Cephalofair made the comment in his post, or this might have been in his comment. I've been reading so many articles today, so I might get one of these wrong. But one of them was talking to Polygon. Polygon had an article about Gloomhaven not making it to shelves. And it had a quote, I believe, from the creator of Gloomhaven. And he basically said that the response he's getting is basically saying, don't expect this to change before the end of the year. And so from their standpoint, for the rest of the year, they will not be shipping any more inventory into the U.S. And so inventory that's in the U.S., if you want one of these games, you need to buy it now. Because if you wait and that sells out, you literally will not be able to get the game unless you purchase it while you're in another country.
And that's probably even the things that are already here, people who are in the board game world, they know this is happening. So these prices are going to be going up even domestically.
Yeah.
Even not just for the ones that they're trying to get from overseas, but if they know that we're about to have a scarcity, you better believe that the price is going to go up. That's just how this works.
Yeah.
The market is as volatile in the board game industry as it is with anything else, right? It'll sustain as much as it can before it kind of tops out. But it's hard because you're thinking about like, yeah, they can make, if they knew that there was stability in whatever the cap out was, they could at least plan accordingly, and they could say, okay, we're gonna have to add 60% cost that we're gonna give to
Right.
give over to the consumer. But when you don't know what's gonna happen from day to day, having a lack of stability means you can't plan. You can't plan on anything, and so by not being able to plan, you're just dead in the water. And for these small businesses with a handful of employees, this is their only livelihood. And you can on the article that Jamie wrote on the Stegmaier, or Jamie Stegmaier wrote on their blog, he gives you like you can reach out to him and get on to the lawsuit to if your business is being affected by these things. So yeah, we should try to talk to him.
But yeah, fascinating story.
Wild.
Expect things to sell out and not get restocked. Expect things to get more expensive. Expect Kickstarters to get canceled or just not fulfilled. And expect companies to close. That's just going to be the reality. And again, the infrastructure just does not exist. And it will take time before it can exist. And so for at least the rest of this year, if there's something you want and it's sitting at your local shop now, it's not a bad idea to go pick it up while you can, and especially if we're talking about something like Gloomhaven, or we're talking about one of the Stonemaier games. He actually, in his article, he posts games that are low stock or games that are they don't have more shipments coming. So if you're interested specifically in one of those, you can read about it. But it's fascinating. You know, it's one of those things like we know subconsciously or very like overtly consciously, we know we're going to start seeing effects. But I think for me, I have not immediately started seeing effects. And I think this is the first thing in like an industry that I follow that goes, oh, okay, that's going to be a super, super real and obvious effect that starts now. Like it's already happening. And this will continue to grow as well. And I do think, I was thinking about how this could also apply. You know, we've looked at getting vinyl toys produced before, or getting like injection, like I'm blanking on
resin
the material,
cast,
but resin toys, etc., produced before. And the cost is wildly less expensive to do from a producer overseas. Now that said, you could still do it here and sell the thing for more money and pass it on to consumers, etc. But two things: you're going to be competing against any of the other people that also decide to use facilities here. And the other piece of it is, I was a lot of the toys that we've interacted with, they're kind of like single material. And again, the complication with board games is that you have to have someone that can manage multiple materials getting produced from multiple factories and see those come together and get assembled.
Companies
it's just
like
a much
Panda
Yeah,
is
it's just a
kind
much
of one of the main board game people who deals with all the different materials and all the different tooling,
and it's just a more
everything.
complicated. It's a more complicated thing to manage, and so anyway, we will see those effects now. So, but
I'm going to add a
fascinating.
community piece to this. Here's a community piece. Yes, if you want to get, if there's a board game you've been eyeing and you see one in stock, go pick it up for sure. But on the other hand, if you've got shelves full of board games, like many of us do, and you're not playing them, now would be a good time to list those so that people who want to play those games can have access to them. If you're not playing them and they're just sitting there collecting dust, now would be maybe a good time to, and maybe be a part of the solution and not the problem, and don't price gouge people. Sell them for a reasonable price so that
unless
people
you don't like those people.
Well, sure. Yeah. But that goes without saying. So yeah, it's like from a community standpoint, if you've got a game that's on the shelf and you've not been playing it, or maybe you've played it out and you're done with it, and people are trying to get games, maybe think about selling it or giving it away or something like that, so that we can continue to give back to the community. So I got to clean out my shelves anyway. Maybe this is just my way of talking my way into doing it and feeling.
I think
like
that's
I'm
probably
doing
what it
it.
is. So
Yeah.
at least give it another 2 months so it's more dire. Anyway,
In 2 months,
that's
the
everything.
baby will be here and it'll be too late. So
It'll be absolutely dire. That's everything from my side. Andrew, anything else for this recap?
no. and I'm sticking to it. It's been a really busy few weeks, and I'm glad to be doing this again. It was a shame to be able to miss out on podcasting last time, but it was because we were, like you had said, we were in Nashville and we ended up being able to make something work. So this was fun to be able to do this. Sad that Lauren wasn't here to hear about her trip. I know she's had a blast. I've been seeing some of the pictures posted, seeing some of the news coming back. I'm sure she's probably going to have a 4-hour debrief. You know, Lauren, she's gonna want to talk about Japan, and so kind of be on the lookout for that. But other than that, no, I think we're good. We can sign off for now, and then be on the lookout for some of these hot seat episodes that are going to start rolling out, because there were some fun conversations. So that's it.
All right.
Bye.
Oh, are you not going to do an outro?
No, we can do an outro. You can find, are we doing show notes on this? I guess we'll probably do a handful. You can find show notes and links over at mof1.network. While you're there, you can find, oh my gosh, so many episodes of the show. And I was reminded of how many episodes we've done when we were getting ready for Creative South, and just the years, just hundreds and thousands of hours of us talking over the years. You can basically track our friendship if you go back to the beginning and listen through all the ups and downs of our podcast or of our relationship are tracked somewhere on this podcast. But you can all find that. You can find all that stuff there, and then join the conversation in Slack. We've been posting some things in there recently. Like Patrick said, this article in the games channel. We post stuff in there all the time. We keep each other up to speed on what's happening. And so that's the best place to find that. So on the website, you can just find the Slack icon, click that, and join the conversation with people from all over the world, honestly. And social media, we're on there. Just Them of One Podcast. Listen, like, subscribe, rate, review. I don't know what else there is to say. I'm Andrew Sale with 3s instead of E's. And Patrick, you?
I'm at Lorst.
That's a nice little callback. We're going to get out of this episode for now, though. Until next time, I'm Andrew.
I'm Patrick.
Peace out.
Bye.
You didn't say, and I'm Patrick, and that threw me.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah, because I'm used to I'm Andrew.
I was using every bit of my cognitive ability to remember the word Lorst. I was like, he combined
so you were still recouping.
Combined 2 words, but what were they? I'm glad I got it, though. I'm glad I got there. I will say, so the Cephalofair, he links to it in his blog post, by the way. The Cephalofair post has way more information and a bunch more links to more posts. I think you could spend all day reading them. But yeah, still just really good information and great description of it. So
I think we should reach out to him.
We can. I think he might be busy talking to some more reputable places.
I don't know.
But
more reputable than us?
No.
Then the podcast
only if we agree to not talk about anything relevant to his industry.
Just so we're clear, he was one of the first people we had on the show before we had any notoriety. I think he'd be fine to talk to us.
You're saying you think, wow, his bar was low then, we have to be under it now. Or above it?
We're above it now.
Yes, above it is where you would want to be.
We have to be above that bar now. I mean,
he was super kind to talk to. I was terrified. By the way, that was so early in the show.
Mm-hmm.
I was like scared to log on and talk to him because like it felt like, oh, we're talking to someone that's actually accomplished something with their life.
I think I felt that way in the first couple of years of it, but when we got to talk to Kevin Eastman, went through his actual press person and booked everything through that, and the press person was on the call with us and everything. Actually,
I forgot about that. Yeah,
like that was once we did that and that went so smoothly, and he was so gracious and so nice. then it was like, well, we can talk to him.
Yeah, who cares about anybody else?
Yeah.
Jedi, I did see that print, and I really liked the print. I have a weird block right now with just not being able to spend money on anything pop culture. So I want to, like, I love that. I sent it in Slack, the Kid Robot. They're doing multiple in their Ashtray series. I think they're on their 3rd now. Even though it's still called Ashtray, but it shows it as an actual, like, keys and watch and coin, like, jar, like, you know, the half dunny that's like laying down, splayed out with a heart. I love that. And it's only like $35, and I can't bring myself to pull the trigger on it. So
Yeah.
I think in person, I think if we actually went back to like DCon this year, I think I could show up with like, I think I could buy in person, but otherwise, like,
I think
I don't
we
know.
went to Creative South this year, and normally it would be a place where I would go buy stuff, right? Like from the vendors.
I
and
didn't
from
look at a
people.
single person's booth.
You
That's not true. I bought one thing.
You
I
bought
should
one
get it real
thing,
quick.
and you bought 100% more stuff than I did. I came back and told Becca, I was like, I didn't spend any money. I came back
I'm
with
gonna turn
stuff.
off my video. I'm gonna turn off my video. You talk. I'm gonna grab the one thing I bought because I do want to show that.
You're not
So,
wearing
one second.
pants. You're not wearing
One second.
pants.
That's not important.
on. You're not wearing pants. Oh, I love it. Yeah, I managed to come back with a couple of little things, but didn't spend any money. So
All right, I bought one thing. I felt like this is partly because someone basically called me this. When I say someone, I mean my wife the day before,
yes,
in a very condescending manner. That's not true,
no, it was a pro-descending manner.
but this just felt like a have to right here.
Sensitive
I got.
boy.
I got a hat.
It's a great hat.
that says sensitive boy.
You gonna tell people where it's from so they can pick up theirs?
No, I refuse to.
It's
When
from
you listen-
Hellcats.
I was gonna say, when you listen to our hot seat interview with the creator, then you'll be able to find out who it's from. We talked to the founder of Hellcats.
Yes.
But anyway, love the hat. Great hat. I found out now that whatever these hats are, what are they called? Like, they're like kayak hats or water hats? Surf hats.
Yeah.
I knew they were water related. It turns out I love surf hats. So, sensitive boy surf hat.
I also got a surf hat. We both got surf hats from Luke from
Yeah, huge
Chops
shout to Luke.
Design Mill, and it.
Mhm.
I was wearing the hat earlier today. It's like my new favorite hat. I love it.
Yep, it's I have mine. Hold on, I have mine sitting right beside me, so I can just show you real quick. I just opened a Coke and I have to close it. 1 second. I'm gonna try not to strangle myself on my. But it's on my bag right now, so I always keep it with me. But bam,
Yeah, it's good.
Chops.
I'm gonna
Super
be
good hat.
ordering some of that design, like some blanks, and then just getting some patches made. I think we may have a new M of One merch item coming shortly because
Yeah, it's gonna be a surf hat.
yeah.
I think everybody else got the context. Well, you know what? We're basically there. It'd be a surf hat.
What if it was something entirely different in this whole setup? Like, so we're doing new pins.
We should get our favorite Peach. We should steal their artwork because we're honored. Make it a patch and put it on a surf hat. Suckers.
What if we do our favorite Peach, but it's just the one that we did? Like, it just really.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. All right, let's
So.
go. Let's get out of here. Guys, you were fun. We love you. We'll see you sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Bye, everybody. See ya. Wait.
Oh, yeah. See ya.
Still feel your hand